Hey everyone, what is happening? It's Wilson from Growth OK, and I'm back with another video. In this video, I'll be talking about the pros and cons of outbound sales. You guys can check out growthok.com for highly qualified and targeted sales leads, or follow me on Twitter at it's Wilson8. So let's talk about some of the pros of outbound sales. It's predictable and it's scalable. Outbound sales is my most favorite way to grow any type of business and validate any type of product. If I'm about to launch a new product, a new SaaS business, or a new agency or something like that, the first thing I would recommend uh, anyone to do, as well as myself, is go with outbound sales. So I'll go with cold emailing because it's predictable and it's scalable. Yes, it costs more to scale out outbound sales, but it's very predictable because you get to choose your market. You get to get your answers right away from when you're sending that cold email to that prospect. The second thing is that you can choose your own customers that you reach out to. So, kind of to elaborate on my first point, it's predictable. For example, if you guys are a digital agency that helps e-commerce company grow their marketing business, the marketing side of their business, or you're an ad management firm and you do ad management for e-commerce business, then you know that you're targeting e-commerce shoppers, right? I mean e-commerce businesses. So you will be targeting people who start the business on Shopify or Magento, one of these e-commerce platforms. With outbound sales, this is what you're able to do. You're able to choose these type of individuals that are hosting their e-commerce business on Shopify and only reach out to them. So you can use like a lead generation company to help you build that list of Shopify users, and you can reach out to them. You get to choose your customers. With outbound sales, you determine the timing. Today I might want to reach out to them at 8 p.m., which I don't suggest doing because everyone's off work or they're asleep, especially with the bigger companies. But you get to determine the timing that you reach out to them, and you get to determine the timing that you want to follow up with them. So you have control of your whole sales process, and you have control of the game. It's really quick results and quick feedback. If they're interested in your service from your initial cold email, if they find that this is something that they might use you right away. They'll give you that feedback. They will say yes or they'll say no, or they'll come back with more questions. But it's usually really quick results and it's quick feedbacks, unlike inbound marketing where you have to create ebooks, white paper, write blog posts, use some PR, some social media. It takes a long time to build that brand awareness. For this, with outbound sales, is very straightforward. You introduce your service, you give them your pitch, and it's whether or not they're interested, right? They're going to move forward or give you feedback right away. It's a very targeted reach, as I mentioned in the earlier points. You get to niche down on any type of market that you're going for. And it's one-on-one engagement. For example, if you pick up the phone right now and you do some outbound sales to those targeted e-commerce companies, you are already building a relationship with the individual. If you're starting it off with an account-based kind of strategy where you cold email them first, you already made that initial introduction, and you guys kind of already built that relationship. It's a one-on-one thing, and then when you call them, it's more warm, right? It's more like a warm calling. After you guys exchange a couple emails, maybe I want to go into more details on the phone call. When you're already calling them, it's not so much of cold calling, or it's not so much of like like a lead that just found you do a blog post, right? There's one-on-one engagement through outbound sales, and it works really well. So I've used it to grow all my past startups and all my past ventures, and we currently still use it right now to grow Growth OK, and it's our main model. I think 80% of the sales come in from outbound sales. Uh, that's how it is right now, and that's how it was for my previous SaaS company, as well as my as any other companies that I work for. I've always used outbound sales. So let's talk about some cons of outbound sales. People hate it. It's always misunderstood. It's always been misunderstood that outbound sales is annoying people. It sounds rough. People just don't like it. Is something that the industry isn't really well, it's mainly because of the fact that how in the old days people used to cold call people, and we would get these phone calls from these random like collection agencies, or some sort of like advertisement, and it's always been misunderstood. So that's one of the cons of outbound sales. It requires a lot of bandwidth. That's the second one I will go into. someone is dedicated to doing these prospecting. They're sending these cold emails. They're using their own time, and they're making these calls. They're doing all these follow-ups. So it does take a lot of bandwidth. And in order to scale, you have to either outsource part of your sales operation, or you have to pretty much hire more people and continue training them. You have to hire more sales reps. You have to hire more account executives. And that's one of the downsides. You're always investing into these individuals, and they can only do so much in one day. It's very time consuming. I mean, just think about like you setting the sales rep a quota of doing 50 cold emails a day. It takes a lot of time to craft these personalized emails, and then they have to go do the follow-ups. Then they have to put on their headset and do the calling. It's very time consuming. And there's a lot of back and forth. A lot of times it gets very frustrating because you might hit a weekend and you reached out to a Fortune 500 executive and he responds on a Friday, but then he's off Saturday and Sunday. So there's a lot of back and forth with the questions, and it does take some time to close deals, especially for the bigger deals. And people might not be familiar with your product when you reach out, right? People find it annoying to receive these cold emails from these companies that they never heard of. So it's not as warm with an outbound sales. Again, it's misunderstood and it's hated. So let's go over some tips for making your outbound sales successful. Have a good lead source. I cannot emphasize the importance of this enough. And this is exactly why I started Growth OK. We want to give you the most highly qualified and accurate sales leads, to give you good sales data with custom data points, doing all the filtering, all the manual work for you. You need to have a consistent lead source to fill up your outbound sales pipeline. You don't want to have your account executives going to scrape for leads or manually guessing emails and then still writing personalized emails. That's just a waste of time. Have a good lead source, whether that is using an outsourced agency or having someone dedicated just to help you find leads. Have a good consistent lead source to fill up the pipeline. Have very good quality data. For example, if you have a good lead source that gives you 1,000 emails, but only 800 of those are correct emails, then you're missing out on those 200 quality data, right? So you want to have good data, and data doesn't just include accurate information. We're talking about like having a mention. For example, if I'm reaching out to like the VP of marketing at Coca-Cola, I want to know the last time he was mentioned in the news. I want to know the last time he wrote a social media post. Request these custom data source from your lead generation provider. Choose a good target, niche down on it. With outbound sales, remember, that's the advantage. You get to choose your market. You get to choose your niche. So choose a good target and niche down. Use it to test different niches. Maybe run a campaign with 300 outreach for a specific niche. And then if that one doesn't convert as well, then do it for another one. That's the power of outbound sales. You're able to do this, but you have to niche down and you have to do account-based sales. You have to have really good goals when you do outbound sales. So you have to tell your sales rep, for example, you have to send your 50 cold emails a day. That's your quota for just the cold emails. That's not talking about appointment set, but make sure you look at your KPIs and know exactly what is going on and how many reps you need in order to scale, or how much what's your budget, to outsource to get these type of leads to come in. Another good tip is that you must have very good personalized emails. We all hate receiving those generic emails from these random startups or companies or businesses or digital marketing agencies. Make sure you do personalized emails, and that all goes back to doing your research and having good quality data. So if you guys are using, let's say, using us, Growth OK, for finding leads, what you can do is that you can tell us that, hey, for every person on the list that you go build for us, make sure you tell us when was the last time they were mentioned on the news, or when was the last time they did a podcast interview, or send or include a link to the LinkedIn, or what high school they went to, something like that. And I know a lot of companies would not allow you to request those type of data, especially if you're using like just an email guessing tool. But like a company like us at Growth OK, we're able to provide these custom data points for you so that you can craft those personalized emails and have a more targeted outreach. And make sure you always follow up. Follow up is a key to success. For us personally, we sometimes have to follow up with a prospect 8 times before we even get a solid response for them to move forward. So make sure you follow up at least minimum of 3 to 4 times. Use multiple channels. Don't just focus on cold email. Use cold calling. Calling and reaching out to them on social media. Be omni-channel. Be all over the place. Send them a cold email. Follow up with a phone call. Follow up with a voicemail. Message them on Twitter. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Send them another email. Be everywhere. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Make sure you check out growthok.com for highly qualified and targeted sales leads. And you can